Leader just put out some very impressive statistics on the possible potential off of the East and West Coast if we opened up these sensitive areas to mandatory leasing. But it's actually smaller than the known reserves under the leases the federal government has already let to oil companies, which they have thus far refused to develop. 5,484 leases, 30 million acres, 18 billion barrels of oil, his number was smaller than that, and 50 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, his number was smaller than that. So the premise that somehow by leasing, mandatory leasing of these sensitive areas, we're going to have some sort of a boon to production, as opposed to somehow incentivizing these oil companies not to sit on these leases forever. We have offered legislation previously from our side to require development of leases within a certain period of time with escalating costs over time and with the potential of turning those back and letting them be released to companies that actually want to do the work. People say, oh, well, these oil companies won't just sit on it. Yeah, they'll sit on it. It's worth more every day, and they don't pay hardly anything to sit on it. Anybody think the price of oil is going to be cheaper 5 years from now than it is today? So if they sit on a federal lease, and hey, maybe we can get some more to sit on for the future, then that resource, which they paid for in $1999 when oil was much cheaper, is a phenomenally profitable resource. So, to say we must open up these sensitive areas now is disingenuous at best, as opposed to incentivizing the industry to use those which are already leased and which have known resources that exceed the speculative resources under these insensitive areas off California, off the east coast of the U.S., in Bristol Bay, where there's a $2 billion a year totally sustainable fishing industry. It's not worth those risks. Now, the majority leader went on to castigate the administration, and I know that these many people's speeches are written in advance by their staff, and staff may not have been listening to the earlier debate and some of the facts I put out, or perhaps whatever happened. But as I pointed out, during the Bush administration, that we were importing 20 million barrels of oil a day. That was 2005. And that was 57% of our consumption. Under the new policies of the Obama administration, which have led to conservation, more fuel-efficient cars, and biofuels, we are importing only 18.5 million barrels a day, and that is 36%. So we have made progress, and we should continue down that path. So to lease more fossil fuel resources offshore is not a particularly creative 21st century solution. It may be a grand mid-20th century solution, which was much reflected in the Bush-Cheney energy policy. Actually, at the time when it passed, I said it would have been an embarrassing policy for the 1950s, and it was tragic for the 21st century in terms of the potential we have with conservation, alternate fuels, and other measures we can take. So, to rush this bill forward, well, it will be rushed forward, to die in the Senate is not going to lower the price at the pump for any Americans. Again, the majority leader referenced that, and I made a statement on that earlier. We're experiencing not an oil shortage, but an artificial refinery shortage in the United States of America, which is used as an excuse to jack up prices and stick it to the American driving public every year in May and June and July when our families want to go on vacation. It's stretching their wallets. If we took steps against the collusive shutdown of refineries, if we took steps against the collusive behavior of OPEC and other other countries through the World Trade Organization, and if we took steps to crack down on the speculation on Wall Street, which even the head of ExxonMobil says, don't blame me, he says, for those sky-high prices. Blame Wall Street. 75 cents a gallon is due to the Enron loophole created by a former Republican Congress to allow wild speculation in energy futures by Wall Street as opposed to producers and consumers coming together in a regular commodities market. So if we wanted to provide relief today, we'd crack down on the speculation. If we wanted to provide relief in the slightly longer term, we would deal with the issues of collusion and OPEC and refineries. And if we wanted to enhance the oil supply further, even though we're producing, at near record amounts today here in the United States of America, we would encourage, incentivize, or disincentivize these oil companies who are sitting on these many, many billions of barrels of oil, trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, and refusing to develop their existing leases while pandering for more. With that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Oregon yields back his time. The gentleman from Washington.
Mr. Chairman, how much time do I have?
The gentleman from Washington has 13 minutes remaining.
Mr. Chairman,